Hi friends, in our last class we discussed past indefinite, past continuous tenses. Let's have a look at past perfect today. I want to revise present perfect before going to the structure of past perfect. Just we can have an idea. In present perfect we use have or has V3. In past perfect we have to use have past form, that is had. Had V3 is to be used. Have past form is had. This is past perfect. So you should have a clear idea that had V3 is to be used. If had V3 is used, that is past perfect tense. Let's have an example. I had taken my books. She had learnt English. There won't be any difference of singular and plural. Only had is to be used irrespective of singular and plural and persons, first person or second person or third person. We can use had V3 only. There won't be any difference. Now we can understand very easily have has V3 is present perfect, and present perfect is used for the actions just before completed, whereas past perfect is used for the actions completed long ago. Whatever the works completed long ago, many weeks ago, many months, many days, many years ago, whatever the works completed, for that only we have to use had V3. This is the first use. The second use is when two past actions are there, when two past actions. The first one should be with had V3, and the latter one should be with V2. I give you an example so that you can understand very clearly. She went out, then I came into house. Then I came into house. Both are of past only. She went out, then I came into house. Both the actions are in past, but what is the earlier action? The first one or second one we have to think. She went out. Afterwards, then means after only. Afterwards, I came into. So, first she went out. So, when two past actions are mentioned, for the earlier action we have to use had V3. Now, how can we write properly? We should not say she went out because it is the earlier action. That is why we have to use she had gone out and then I came. And then I came into house. I give you another example. I went to attend a meeting. it started before only. These are also of two past actions only. But here we have to think what is the earlier action and what is the later one. Went to attend a meeting. Before going to attend the meeting, it started. So meeting started first, then I went. So what is the earlier action here? Meeting started. So the meeting had started. The meeting had started. And then I went. This is the way of writing sentences. This is the way of writing sentences. When two past actions are described, the earlier one should be with had V3 and the next one should be, the later one should be with verb second form. In this way we can use past perfect. Now let's go to past perfect continuous. I am talking about past perfect continuous now. We have to compare. In present perfect continuous, have, has, been ing form is there. In past perfect continuous, had, been ing form is to be used. So what is the difference between present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous? If at all we know, it's very easy to remember and learn. So have, has, past form is had. So in present perfect continuous, have, has, been is used. Here we have to use had, been. And ing form. And object. So I give an example. I had been writing stories. They had been playing on the last Sunday. In this sense also there won't be any difference of singular and plural. Had is to be used irrespective of persons and numbers. Past perfect continuous is used by making use of had, been ing form, and the use of it is for the actions continued at a specific time for a long period in past. Usually we won't use, this is used only when we want to specify at a particular time the action continued for a long time, then only we can use. And the other use is while changing a sentence from direct to reported speech. Present perfect continuous changes into past perfect continuous. This is the structure of past perfect continuous. Now let us switch over to future indefinite. Let's try to have a look at present indefinite, past indefinite. Then it is very easy for understanding future indefinite. In present indefinite we use V1. In past indefinite we use V2. In future indefinite, wherever we get shall or will, we have to think that is future. So in future indefinite, we use shall or will and verb first form. Along with shall or will, we have to use verb first form. If only verb first form is there, that is present indefinite. Shall or will is used, that is future indefinite. That is the difference. You may have a doubt, when do we use shall, when do we use will? Shall is used only for I and we. Will is used all the others except I and we. So we have to be a little careful while making sentences. If I or we is there, we have to use shall. For all the others, will. There is no difference of singular and plural or persons. Only for I, we have to use shall. For all the others, will. So, I shall go to Hyderabad tomorrow. Here, I is there, so shall verb first form. Now, she, for she we have to use will, not shall. She will learn music next year. Future itself is after some time. Generally, future indefinite is used for the actions expected to do after some time, maybe tomorrow or after a few days or after a few weeks or months or years. Just it is an anticipation, expectation. Then let's have a clear idea of its use. For the actions expected to do after some time. After some time in the sense, maybe the next day, after a few hours or next week, like that. Not after just 10-15 minutes or an hour. It's not the future. Now, I want to clarify. Sometimes you might have listened to the people using I will. So, let's have a clear idea about the usage of shall and will once again. Actually, in general, shall is used for only I and we, will is used for all the others. But for I and we can use will and verb first form on some conditions. First one is when we promise. Someone asked us to visit their house. Casually say, I shall come to your house next week. So casual, just invited, we accept, we say casually, we will never say no. Instead of saying no, we will say, we will see or we will try something. So, on such occasions, which is not stipulated, which is not fixed, which is not really going to happen, then we use shall or will, shall for I will. If at all, we want to say that certainly it is going to happen and I promise that I do it, then we have to use when we promise, when we say that it is going to happen surely or certainly, then for I and we have to use will V1. So when we feel I can, or if at all more than I, what do we say? We. I or we, if at all we think that really we are going to do and it is certain to happen, then only we can use will. That is why we can listen some of the people saying, I will help you, I will come to you, I will explain to you. It means I am going to really do it. If at all I shall explain, I say, if at all I say, I shall explain, I shall come, I shall understand, then it means that it is just a casual one only, it is a casual expression, it is not going to really happen, we don't know whether it happens or not. This is the particular point I wanted to tell you. Then, can we use shall for others? We cannot use shall for others. Shall is not to be used. Of course we can use, but we don't know the other person's mind reading. What really the person says is going to happen or not, whether it is a promise or not, whether he really wishes to do, we don't know clearly. That is why we don't use shall for you or he or she or they. This is about future indefinite. We discuss the next structures in our next class. Have a nice day. Thank you.